The most important thing that I think you should know about before coming to Macedonia is to... Hey everyone, I am Natalie. I'm back with another video. It's been a while, so I'm sorry about that, but I'm here now, and I wanted to, before I get started, I wanted to say a thank you to everybody following me, watching these videos, everyone who left really lovely comments on my videos. I love it. I love that you've all been sharing your own interest in coming to Macedonia and asking questions about my journey. I'm trying to help as much as I can, and this account started as more of something I found fun to do. I wanted to help people. I really wasn't expecting it to get the reach that it did and the engagement. My last video actually led me to doing 2 interviews, which is great. I'll include the link in the description below. And if you haven't been following me on my journey yet, please watch my very first video where I talk about why my family and I left Canada after 30 plus years. I'm born and raised there, and why we came back to Macedonia, where my parents are from. And please like, comment, subscribe, share the video. I really do appreciate it, and I love to hear from all of you. Did you know that if you are a foreigner coming to Macedonia, the moment you arrive, you technically have to go to the police station as a way to declare yourself? It's a way of making it known about your presence in the country, and then that way you also have to do it before you leave as well. And so technically foreigners are only allowed to stay in Macedonia for up to 3 months before they have to leave. And then after a certain number of months, they can come back, unless you have a Macedonian citizenship or some kind of working visa or student visa. I think one of the most frustrating things about being in Macedonia, and this could be because I'm spoiled from Toronto, but grocery stores, the majority of them are closed on Sundays. And so if you're like me, you might have, Saturday come up, and then all of a sudden you're like internally panicking because you're thinking about how you have to go grocery shopping for Sunday and then probably Monday. So if you're like me, you might want to plan out the menu a little bit better. But keeping in mind that there are some grocery stores open Sunday, but they're a little bit harder to come by. It might not necessarily be near your location. And if you are into cooking and, looking for specific ingredients, you may have to shop at more than one grocery store. I know for myself, I go to, let's say, Vero, a quite well-known, popular grocery store. It's more of a higher-end grocery store that I will go to for specific products that I just don't find in other stores. And so you may end up having to shop at multiple stores as a way to get all of the products you're looking for. Now, we do have, of course, our grocery stores and supermarkets, and then we have the bazaar, which is a really nice way of shopping locally, whether it's buying produce or, certain products that folks are trying to sell to you. However, keep in mind, if you do go to the bazaar and they find out that you are a foreigner, you are most likely going to get overcharged. And so the benefit of shopping at the grocery store is there's a flat price, there's no risk of you getting scammed. Now, of course, you might want to shop at multiple stores in order to find out where the best prices are, if that's something that interests you. Another way that you can potentially get scammed, and I mentioned this in my other video, but I'll go in more detail today, the taxis. If you're not careful, taxis can scam you. I almost had it happen to me recently. I was going to meet my friend on the opposite side of the city, and she had told me ahead of time, because she knew I was taking a taxi, how much I should expect to get charged based on her experience. And so I kept that in mind. It was supposed to be around 300 denarii, and I also knew that because of the apps I was using, which kind of gave me a rough estimate of the cost. The most legit way to ensure that you won't get scammed is calling the taxi companies. And we have quite a few, so calling them in order to request a cab. Now, unfortunately, I've come across this a lot. I find there are not enough cabs in Macedonia, and so let's say it's a weekend or an evening and you're in need of a taxi cab, there may be times where they tell you they don't have any. And that could also be a lie if you are trying to travel within a distance that maybe they don't deem is a large enough distance or enough money for the taxi cab driver. They can also tell you they don't have an available cab. But the most legit way is to call the company yourself, or perhaps have somebody else do it for you, or to use one of the taxi apps. And I'm going to show you some screenshots of the ones that I use. You don't have to worry about getting scammed that way. And some of them even allow you to pay with a card instead of cash. Otherwise, if you are calling the taxi cab companies yourself, most often you have to pay with cash. Back to how I almost got scammed. So I was expecting to get charged around 300 dinari, and the first flag was that I was calling taxi companies. I couldn't find a cab. I was freaking out because I have to meet my friend, right? And so I ended up having a taxi cab randomly drive by where I was. Red flag. The legit taxi companies, you have to call them. Otherwise, if they are randomly driving by, or they might be randomly, waiting in a certain spot, then you are at risk of running into a fake taxi cab or a scammer. But I was in such a rush to meet my friend, and I was worried about not being able to find a cab, so I went in. And immediately, the guy asked me where I'm from, which I probably should have just said Skopje. And anyway, we got talking, and we arrive at the destination, and he tells me 400 dinari is how much I owe him. And luckily, I was able to sort of laugh it off and be like, no, it's supposed to be around 300 dinari. Yeah, I used the app, which told me, and my friend also told me. And then he was like, okay, I'll drop the price for you. And I even had a friend who told me that she also got scammed one time, and she just got out of the taxi cab, didn't even pay. So it does happen. You want to be careful. And another way to ensure that the taxi cab is legit is ideally near the back of the body of the cab, they should have an actual taxi cab number to identify the vehicle. So the number is located pretty close to the tires on the body of the car. And again, when you call the actual taxi cab companies, they will tell you exactly what number the vehicle is, so you know what to expect. So I did a little digging because I had some of you ask me about the cost of rent, the cost of groceries, and it seems that groceries for a single person cost anywhere from 150 to 200 euros a month on average. Groceries for a couple is anywhere from 300 to maybe 400 euros a month. And then when it comes to rent, again, it'll depend largely on what neighborhood you're in, what type of a place you're renting, but it does tend to be around 300 and maybe 50 euros to 400 euros a month on average. A lot of you also asked me about remote work. And I will say remote work is becoming increasingly more popular, especially for the younger generation. A lot of people know English too, and so they tend to work a lot of English jobs. Whether it be for a company who maybe isn't located in Macedonia, but they want to hire foreign people because, for that company, they end up paying their workers less money as opposed to hiring, let's say, their own local people. But for Macedonians, it's considered a decent salary. Or there might be some type of foreign company who maybe has headquarters in Macedonia or one of many locations in Macedonia. Of course, you're more likely to have a better salary if you are working remotely or for a foreign company, as opposed to working locally. One thing that may surprise you about Macedonia is how much cheaper dental care is here. I was amazed. And, we even have some people who fly to Macedonia purely to get better, cheaper dental services. So just to give you an example, I'm the type of person who has to get my teeth cleaned every couple of months, and in Canada it really adds up. I was looking at my old receipts and I had last paid, I wrote it down here, $232 Canadian, and then the one before that was $227 Canadian. And so when you convert that into dinari, that's anywhere from about 9,350 dinari to 9,500. And so imagine you're getting that done every couple of months. That's incredibly expensive. Now here, I was just over the moon. Here, when I first went, I ended up paying only 1,500 dinari. And then after that, it's just been 1,200 dinari consistently. And I also love that when I went to the dentist office here I called them, I asked them how much they charge. They gave me an upfront fee. Whereas in Canada, they're not very clear about their prices when it comes to dentistry. I don't know why that is. And so it's not at all uncommon to get overcharged for things, or they might give you an estimate for a service and then end up tacking on other fees without you knowing about it ahead of time. So I love that here I asked about the price ahead of time. I did not have any hidden fees afterwards, and they continue to charge me the same price. I've been going several times now. One thing that may surprise you is that although Macedonia is full of greenery, nature, many mountains, during the fall and winter months, if you are in Skopje, there's a lot of heavy pollution. So if you're wondering why Skopje specifically is very polluted in the fall-winter months, there are a few reasons. One is that Skopje is considered quite low when it comes to the meters above sea level. I looked it up and it's about 245 meters above sea level. However, if you exit Skopje, a lot of the other towns and cities are much higher than that. And so there's, the low meters above sea level, but also there are many mountains surrounding Skopje. And so Skopje is almost like a hole where the polluted air can't really escape. And then on top of that, we have a cement factory in Skopje. Don't ask me why it's here. I have no idea. It's been several years now, but that adds to the pollution. And then in Macedonia, it's not uncommon for folks to still heat up their homes using firewood as a way to save on electricity, because it can be expensive to have city heating or central heating. And so that also adds to the pollution. But what you can do is what I did, which is to buy an air purifier. I keep mine on all year round. I also suffer with seasonal allergies, which is not fun. So I recommend keeping it on all year round. And you can also get apps on your phone. I have one in particular. I will include it in a screenshot here. You can get apps on your phone that will tell you what the air quality is like outside as well. And so it's fine during the spring and summer months, but during the fall, winter months, you will notice the decline. And so you will naturally want to spend more time indoors, have your air purifier on. Otherwise, when you go outside, especially in the nighttime when everybody is heating up their homes, you will literally smell like you've been bathing in a campfire. It's crazy. The smell really lingers on your clothes, your hair, so just be warned. Something else to keep in mind is that the tap water in Skopje is not the best to drink all the time. So some people drink from it. I believe it's considered safe. However, you can really taste the minerals in the water. And it is high in, we call it bigur. I believe in English that's calcium carbonate. It's like these white particles that you can see in the water, or you might see them on the bottom of your glass building up, which is fine in moderation, but you just want to be mindful of that and buy some kind of a filter. Ideally, you want to be using that as a way to filter the water. You will notice a difference in taste as well because it helps to remove the minerals. But outside of Skopje, a lot of people drink the tap water. I know the eastern end where I'm from, the tap water tastes perfectly fine. It doesn't have that heavy mineral taste. So this is more specific to Skopje. One thing that really positively surprised me about Macedonia is the malls are very similar to North America. I know the mall that I really like in Skopje is called City Mall, and it really reminds me of Fairview Mall in Toronto. And actually, there are so many similar stores that I grew up with. I know there's, just to give you a few examples, we have Skechers, Nike, Guess, Nine West, and of course, there's a lot of unfamiliar names, but yeah, it's been really lovely being able to shop in the stores that I normally love. And malls are also open later compared to the malls in Toronto. So on weekdays, malls are open until 10 o'clock, actually. I know in Toronto they were open mainly until 9:30. And on Sundays, malls are open until 8 p.m. In Toronto, I believe it was 7 p.m. So you don't have to worry about missing on your favorite stores. You might just find them here. And now for the final thing I want to mention, which I saved the best one for last. I think this is really the most important thing that anybody should know before coming to Macedonia. It's befriending a local. And there are many reasons why I recommend that. Locals are so helpful when it comes to any questions you may have, any concerns. I know my family and we received so much help from local people in many ways. And so no matter how much research you might do ahead of time or how great your communication skills are, it still doesn't compete to a local who grew up here, because they will be full of knowledge and information, and folks here generally want to help, especially when they know that you are a foreigner. They would like to help. So if you're wondering how you can go about befriending a local or meeting locals, there are many different ways. So if you are renting anywhere, you can certainly talk to your landlord, your host, your neighbors as well. There are many events that are organized, especially in Skopje, for expats, local people. So lots of different ways to meet folks. But this is a topic for my next video, so if you want to know more, stay tuned. That's it for today's video. I will be in touch with more. I really do plan to have content out more frequently. Again, thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I would love to know, do you plan on visiting Macedonia or maybe even moving here? What inspired you? Let me know in the comments. And as always, take care. God bless. I'll be in touch. Bye.